Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. After 6 weeks of training, I started the second block of my half Ironman prep last week, and to be honest, that was one interesting week to say the least. Some great things happened and there were some not so great things as well, but first let's talk about all the good. I've been meaning to talk about how important the mental aspect of training is, and now I think it's time to share my thoughts on this topic with you. It is easy to be strong mentally and stay focused as long as everything goes according to the plan. I've been doing really well in terms of progress in my training, and I only had a few minor setbacks and maybe a few bad workouts where I couldn't find my gear and felt weak, so that's nothing to worry about. But recently I had 2 really bad swims where I was literally suffering a lot. I was slow, the water was choppy, I could barely breathe properly, I got a twitch, so all in all they were bad enough to make me start questioning whether this whole half Ironman prep made any sense. After the second bad swim, I went home to think about what happened, and I realized that I must have hit a wall mentally because I wasn't able to go beyond a certain distance in swimming. And it was due to the bad experiences that I built up that wall in my mind. I couldn't swim further out than 800 meters in flat waters and turn back around the 500 meter mark all the time in choppy waters because I was not sure what would happen if I kept swimming beyond that point. It was not necessarily my body that resisted to go any further, but my mind. So that evening after the second bad swim, I decided to hammer down that imaginary barrier in my mind. I knew I had the stamina, I had the strength, and I didn't have to worry about the sea either, because the water is the same 1k out as it is 500 meters out from the starting point, and you don't get any further from the coast as you swim parallel to it all the time if you are doing it right, so it's supposed to be safe. So I decided to go out to Salt Hill the next morning and swim 2000 meters if the water is nice and flat, and I did exactly that. And I did not only break the 2k limit, but did so at a pace faster than my usual pace at shorter distances. My plan B for the 2k swim was to swim at least 1 mile in choppy water, and I did exactly that a couple of days later too. So that was the first mental battle I won last week, and also hit a massive PB as a bonus. Something similar happened on the bike. Before last week I was riding 1 hour 50 minutes or 2 hour stops on the trainer on my so-called long rides, and I had to go up to 2 hours and 15 minutes according to my plan this week. At around the 1 hour 30 minute mark my butt started to really hurt and I wanted to get off the bike. But I didn't. I kept grinding because I knew the little discomfort I felt was only temporary, and I finished my 2 hours 50 minutes ride exactly as planned. I won mental battle number 2. I know this doesn't sound like a big deal, and these numbers might sound straight up stupid and way too low to some of you, but for a guy who started cycling and swimming from scratch only a bit longer than a year ago, these numbers are actually important milestones and basically all-time personal bests. So I hit a PB in both swimming and cycling last week, and then came my Sunday long run. I was in a great mood, I felt strong, I didn't even care about the forecast, which was anything but promising for a run. It was windy in Salt Hill with 50+ km/h gusts, which kept blasting sand in my mouth. At some stage we could barely move forward against the wind, but at some level it was challenging and even funny sometimes. I was thinking about saying a few words about mental strength by the end of this run, because as I said, I was feeling good beforehand, and I knew this was something I wanted to talk about in this week's video anyway. I wanted to say something about how important that is to resist the temptation to stop, and you have to push yourself beyond your limits sometimes, because it's usually just your body trying to protect itself from getting overexhausted, and you have to teach it that it is safe to go to your limits and beyond, because it can handle it, and you can tap into those extra energies your mind and body reserve for emergencies. But I ended up saying this instead. That was a bad one. I mean, I was supposed to run 19k today, but at around 17 I started limping. I started feeling my right hips, so I said no, it's simply not worth the risk injuring myself for that 1k more in training. I'm gonna do 1k more next week, so yeah, sometimes you have to be smart about it and think about the long term and put your ego aside Yeah. So as you could see, I had to stop at 18K because my right hip was hurting badly. I realized that in this case it was not about my mind telling me to stop because I was tired, but my body was hurting due to some mechanical issues, and if I kept going I could have injured myself, which would have not made any sense whatsoever. So I decided to stop 1K short of my goal for the day. You can say that I lost the third mental battle of the week, but I believe that it turned out to be a rather smart decision. We got home, I was still limping a bit, got a shower, had lunch, and later that evening my right knee started to hurt to a point I could barely walk. I couldn't think of anything else than that the hip pain I felt at the end of my run and the knee pain was related, and I think I'm showing the typical signs of an acute IT band syndrome now. On top of all this, my temperature went up to above 38 degrees Celsius, which was probably caused by the inflammation in the IT band, or maybe my stomach issue just resurfaced and my esophagus flared up again, but I didn't experience the pain in my chest that usually comes with it, so I don't know about that. I also don't know how long it's going to take to recover from that last run, but I know that I have to keep going because if training was off the table for weeks, then I wouldn't be happy at all, to say the least. I know that there are bigger problems in the world than my teeny tiny knee pain right now, and my struggles with training are nothing compared to the pressure on every single one of us these days, because we all live in strange times and we all have to deal with a lot of uncertainty too. But during the last couple of months, the only thing I've been 100% sure about and focused on was my training. It has become an anchor in my life, which I'm not willing to let go. Most of my days are organized around my training schedule. My wedding business has been shut down and that's not going to recover any soon. Of course, I'm working on these videos and my YouTube channel in general, but right now I'm only doing it to keep myself busy and accountable instead of just feeling sorry for myself. My girlfriend has gone back to work now since the Irish economy is almost 100% opened up again, so all I really have left is my training. I really hope that couple of days rest is all I need, maybe some swimming and some light biking in the meantime, but definitely no running for days, and then we will see how it goes. Maybe I implement some changes in my training plan, but I'm going to tell you all about it in next week's video. The message I was trying to convey through this video is there are of course ups and downs in training, and you really need to know when to slow things down or put yourself together and beat your own fears, because these moments can really transform you and define who you are and what you are going to achieve. Sometimes pushing yourself pays dividends, but some other times listening to your body and stop when you have to is the smart thing to do. Knowing what to do at a certain moment comes from experience. Knowing the difference between pain and pain comes from knowing your own body well enough to realize what is actually going on. And when it comes to your fears, it has nothing to do with your body, it's all in your mind. What I'm trying to say is you have to know your body and be able to control it with your mind. And that's all part of the game we are all playing when training and pushing ourselves. And I only hope I can always come out on top and not let the game beat me. Well, that's enough of me and my complaints for today, I guess. I'm sorry if I talked about it too long, but I felt the urge to talk it out of my system. I know that next week I can come back to you with good news and good news only, so stay positive. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And as always, thanks for watching, see you next time.